This actors' strike is so very crucial. Several years ago, I was doing a Kickstarter for a project I recorded that was costly. There was an article I did in Forbes, which I'm proud of because I wanted to explain not so much just about why I was personally doing a Kickstarter, but I wanted to help educate the public on some of what most people don't know about the financial aspect of being an actor. You make money that lasts long term when you're on a series that runs for many years, generally speaking. People with big names make a lot of money. There are jobs that pay a lot more than other jobs. But within all of this, a guest starring role on an episode of television, for example, if you're a name actor, like someone with a name like mine, for example, kind of medium size or whatever, it's typical to be offered something in the range of like $5,000 to $7,000 for an episode. Other people who are in a position that, I realize I'm in a position where I also have other projects that I work on where I get paid a lot more than that, and then I can put money away and save it in the bank. And I've never been in a position, thank God. I've been very careful with my money. I don't spend frivolously. I have a house. I'm very responsible with that stuff. So whenever I've done a Kickstarter for music, it's not me saying I can't afford my life. It's me saying I'm not a label. I'm looking to the public to help, to be able to spend the kind of money I'd like to spend on this record. And then I get to share it with all of you. And then you all get a piece of it and you get special prizes. But I did a Forbes interview about this, and a lot of the points that I made in that interview are now being discussed much more broadly with the strike that's happening, and I think that's a great thing. I tell people frequently that, for example, residuals are a main thing that we are fighting for, because if you do that one episode, a lot of people don't get paid $5,600. If you're an actor that doesn't have any sort of a recognizable name, you probably have a recognizable face because you work often, but you could be paid as little as $500 for one day of work. That episode could go on literally to run forever. And if you don't get meaningful residuals, you also don't know, like you could do 13 episodes of a series and you could get paid $500 for each day of your work as a quote unquote working actor without a name. What if that series becomes a huge hit and the network that airs it ends up making millions and millions and millions of dollars? This isn't just a what if, this is actually what's happening. So that same actor whose face is now on a billboard for a hit show on a major streamer, they could be working as a barista, struggling to pay their bills with no health insurance. And that's not right. That's really messed up. The streamers need to share when they are making that much money. And even when it's not a huge hit, they're still making a massive profit. And that needs to be shared. It's only it's like 2%, if that, of the profits that SAG-AFTRA is asking for in total to be divvied up between the actors as they deserve. In terms of health insurance, you have to earn $26,000 in any given calendar year to be eligible for your health insurance. Most actors in the union don't make that. In 2021, I released an album and I released a book. And I was so busy finishing the book and finishing the album and doing all of the things around that the acting gigs that came up in 2021 were not jobs I was excited about. I did get offered things, but I didn't get offered anything that I felt passionate about. And I didn't really need the money because I had these other things, book deal and stuff. But I wasn't thinking, oh, 2022, I might have something happen with my health where I won't necessarily want to or perhaps be able to work. But sure enough, 2022, the end of 2021, I was surprised to be diagnosed with breast cancer. Fortunately, thank God, it was a situation where it could be treated and isolated. And I spent 2022, though, the first half of that, really focused on that. But I had to work during that time. I had to work because I was going to lose my health insurance in July. I've made, over the course of my life, obviously millions of dollars over the course of my life. I've never made that much in 1 year, but there's no good reason why I should have to struggle for health insurance when I've contributed that much to the pension. And I'm just a kind of medium name. This applies to everybody. And it's especially a problem when you have older actors that have worked their whole lives, are very well known, and they get to maybe an age where they would like to retire, not have to go out and work to earn $26,000 in a year, but they have to if they want to keep their health insurance. The other thing that's interesting is that residuals used to count towards the health insurance, and for quite a while now they don't. So that means if they did count, somebody in my position who's worked on 100 projects roughly over my life, those would generate enough income in theory if they were earning the residuals they probably should be. They used to, but we don't earn that kind of money anymore at residuals. We just don't. And new stuff, we earn a tiny amount. Streamers and all of that. It's gotten to where it's really hard to earn a living as an actor if you're not working on just a fraction of the projects that are available, and if you're not in the blessed position to make enough money to pay bills with. My strike does not prohibit me from continuing to write music for movies or television. I can certainly do that as a singer-songwriter. My understanding is that as long as I'm not in the movie, there are some things I have coming out that I'm not allowed to talk about or promote at this moment, because the goal of SAG-AFTRA is to really drive home to all of the producers and the networks and the streamers that they are negotiating with how much we, the actors, give them in terms of free publicity. It is expected that we will use our following and our platforms and our social media to get the word out there. That's where people tend to hear about these things these days. When our voices are silent, we're demonstrating that they're not going to have as much buzz about all their things. And that also goes for previous things. And it also goes for projects I'm not in. So I'm not allowed to say I'm watching the current season of blah, blah, blah. Because as an actor, I probably know somebody involved with it. And even if I don't, I'm promoting with my platform. So we're not doing that at the moment. But in terms of music, yes, I can contribute music, certainly, because that's a different union. I don't contribute as a SAG-AFTRA member. And there are a few waivers as well, which is why I'm able to talk about The Masked Singer. That's an unscripted show, and they have a waiver. And if I appear as a musical guest on a show, that is also allowed, even though we do get paid under SAG-AFTRA. It's a whole different thing, whole different department.